We are live.
Hello.
Yes. Hello to everybody. I'm Rebecca Radiz, joined by the lovely Diana Adams. And Diana and I are, across the world from each other today. I'm in Los Angeles and you are in Germany. Where exactly?
I'm in Munich. And
okay.
The reason I sent out a tweet a little while ago that said we'll be talking about Twitter, Facebook, and mysterious time zones. And that's because I was thinking, it's 10 a.m. where you are, right?
Yes.
It 10 a.m. there?
Yep.
Okay.
All
right.
Yeah, so your whole day is done.
Yeah, okay. You got to see this. I don't know if you can see. Hopefully, can you?
Oh, yeah. That's a beautiful view.
Sunset?
Look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sunset?
Uh-huh.
Setting here, and it's 10 a.m. there.
Yeah, I know.
I remember 10 years ago when we were so excited that we could tweet, right, with people around the world. And then about 2 years ago, I think it was, Meerkat and Periscope started, right? And that was a big deal. And now it's even gone one step further where we can both be here together talking to everyone. So I think that the mysterious time zones is a great segue into our topic today because you can really connect with anybody, anytime.
Yeah, anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I do find that so interesting that we have really broken down all barriers as far as networking is concerned. I was thinking back yesterday about traditional networking. I was in sales for years and you were pounding the pavement or you were dialing for dollars. You were doing those traditional things, going to networking events. And now all we have to do is hop on Facebook or Twitter or any of our other social networks and we're just instantly connected.
Right. Exactly. In the old days, companies would spend all that money on those big glossy catalogs. I still get some of those. And
it's amazing that people even put money into that anymore.
I know. And it's a heck of a lot easier today. So
kind of like phone books. Does anybody even remember those or create those anymore? It's so funny to me just to think back how technology has taken us so far in such a short amount of time.
Exactly. I think phone books, everybody just puts it directly in the recycle bin, right?
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing for a decade.
Yeah. Or as kids, we sat on them, right? We sat on them as like a booster chair.
Exactly.
That was about the only good use of them. And that was even in the 80s and 90s. I think we were already kind of over them.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So yes, perfect segue into our topic today. And we're actually kicking off a brand new show right here on Facebook Live. And Diana and I have known each other for, I don't know, Diana, what, 7 years?
Years. I think
forever.
Yeah, forever. We joined Twitter the same month and met very soon after that. So it's been upwards of close to 10 years, probably 8 to 10 years.
Yeah. And so over that time, we have both really built our personal brands, which all of that was in support of our businesses. And so we are kicking off this show all about brand authority. So everything that you need to build online influence, which we know that that's kind of a sordid word these days. What exactly does that mean? But yeah, we're going to break that down and we're going to demystify how to make great connections, how to build up your brand in a way that naturally attracts the right people. So I am just super excited, Diana. We haven't had a chance to really collaborate on anything like this in quite some time. And every time I get to hang out with you, it is like best day ever. So
just going to say, I was telling Marcia Collier about us being on here more and starting this podcast, working on the podcast together. And she said, well, what exactly is the goal of this? And she's asking me questions. And I said, well, number one is just that I get to hang out with Rebecca more. That's number one thing there. And then everything else is after that. So I'm thrilled to be here with you.
Yeah. Oh, me as well. All right. So let's dive in. We're talking today about 5 ways you can use social media. And really, it's beyond social media. It's really make connections online,
Right.
and connect with absolutely anyone. And we're going to talk a lot more about this from a public relations point of view, just so many different aspects of this. But today we're just going to focus on the social media piece. Because obviously this is right within our wheelhouse. We have spent a lot of time on social media, learning what works, what doesn't, and really testing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. So first things first, before we jump into the 5 pieces, I think the most critical piece, Diana, is as you're going to start to reach out to people, as you're going to start to really build up momentum and conversation around your brand, you need to make sure that your contact information is easily accessible. I don't know about you, but it drives me crazy when I go to somebody's website or their blog or any other social networks and there's no links, there's no contact information. I have no idea how to get in touch with somebody.
Exactly. 100% agree with you there. And I think that we probably should mention that more because for you and I, it's just like, duh, no brainer. But I think it's a step easy to overlook. People don't think about it.
Well, and you don't.
Making it easy to connect. Because a lot of people have that on their site, but it's hard to find. I can't tell you how many times I'm navigating all over the place. Well, there's not a contact page. Maybe it's on the about page. I'm, trying to find it. And you don't want people to have to go through the hassle.
Well, exactly. So you are heavily into the tech world, and I know on websites every single day. Give us just a couple of ideas on maybe where that contact information should be and why it's so important, because we are focusing on social media, but we're starting out with your website and blog. So maybe help us connect those dots too.
Sure. Well, you just want to make it easy. The easiest way to do it is a contact page, right? That's what people expect. It doesn't need to be hard, just very simple. And I would just like to ask for my personal self, please put your social media handles on there. Also, people want to follow you and like your page, maybe on Facebook if that's their preferred platform, and just let them connect with you in whatever way they would like without making it hard. That's simple.
Yes. Yes. Very, very simple. Well, and if you're a local business, I think this is especially important because people are, as they're considering whether or not they want to connect with you on social media, they're going to bounce over to your website. They're going to check you out. They're going to take a look. So, really making it easy that there's your phone number or here's your connections to, the Better Business Bureau or Google Plus or all of those different places that we have that build up that credibility and that authority while also making it just incredibly simple to connect with us.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, I think that's just such an incredibly important point that if you haven't looked at your contact, your about, that you go take a look at all of those before you start this outreach.
Yes.
Yeah. And, beyond that, do you have any other tips just as far as they're starting to think about what should be in that bio or in that about beyond contact information? Is there anything specific that as you're out there looking, you're always eager to see or to find out about somebody?
I think, well, the first thing that popped into my mind was a few minutes ago, you said how to naturally find and connect with anybody online, right? Anybody that you want to. And I think the key there is naturally, right? Because so much communication, since we're talking about social media today, so much communication on social media does not feel natural. It doesn't feel, you follow a brand and they tweet you back, great, visit our website at blah, blah, blah. That's not
right.
easing into it. So I think the first thing that pops into my mind is, as far as your bio and any communication piece, make it natural. Make it something that doesn't feel forced and heavy.
Ah, yeah. That's such a great point where if it feels forced, your audience is they're gonna sense that. And I think that goes back to that word that we toss around a lot, which is authenticity. But it's so important that when you first start connecting with people, you're doing it in your tone of voice. You're doing it in the same way you and I would have a conversation. So that
Exactly.
it can start to get pretty awkward when you're trying to pretend to be something that you're not. And it also gets, what you just said, very heavy and overwhelming when you're trying to keep up this persona that just, really isn't you.
It's not working when people try to do that. And I think a lot of roadblocks that people come across are things like they don't have a brand voice, so they don't know how it should sound. But that's for another day when we're on here.
Another whole can of worms, right?
A whole other conversation. But for now, just think about it this way: as just a person, an individual person, not a brand. As an individual person online, you know what? You do still have a brand because you're building your personal brand with every communication, even if you're not trying to. So think about it that way. You're natural on your personal brand. Now just go over to your brand page and the same thing. Be natural and until you're able to develop, a little bit more savvy about it.
Yeah, it really is that simple. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate it. We try so hard to think about what's our personal brand and what's our business and how do we separate these two and how do we create differentiation? Stop. Yeah. Stop
Exactly.
stressing about it and just get out there and have a conversation with people. So yeah. Great place to start. Kind of dust off those abouts, those bios, make your contact information right there, big and bold, easy for people to connect with you. So now we can jump into the 5 ways that you can use social media to actually start to connect with absolutely anyone online. And Diana, I am really excited. We haven't talked about this yet, which is our number 1. And that is creating an outreach campaign on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, I think, is too often overlooked, although it's, in my opinion, making a huge surge back into the professional world. What's that?
Everybody is saying that.
Yeah, it is really.
We're talking about that. She is really into LinkedIn and how it's changed.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see the engagement that's happening over there on content and the way people are establishing their brand, their personal brand over there on LinkedIn. It reminds me a lot of the early days on Google Plus when there was just that massive movement over to Google Plus, and everybody was really establishing themselves. You were introduced to people you would have never met otherwise. You were stepping outside of Twitter and out of Facebook. And so while LinkedIn has been around, forever, since 2004, it's really making a resurgence. So what we did as a team is we actually set out to gather some data, some hardcore data on how you could build those contacts and how you could do it in a very intentional way. So to build a campaign and to start your outreach on LinkedIn, because I think for a lot of people, Diana, they're like, I don't even know where to begin. How do I find people? How do I make those connections? What's an in-mail? And, it's just a different language over there, and it doesn't have to be complicated. And that's the good news. And that's where what we tested out was very, very simple. So you're going to go over and you're going to go to LinkedIn and you're going to use LinkedIn search, which is just right there at the top of the search bar. And you can search anything. So you can search for possible customers. You can search by, so let's say keyword, maybe by your industry, which could be the same exact thing, your niche, maybe another topic. So think about what you want to be known for, what space you're in, And then you could just type that in. So for example, I could type in social media, and anybody that's got social media within their bio is going to pop up for me. And keep in mind, this is going to give you, depending on how broad that search is, a whole lot of people.
Right.
Yeah, which can feel totally overwhelming, right? Where all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, how many people do I connect with? So we're just going to make it really simple for you. You're going to pick 5 people per day. That's it. I think that's super doable. Should take you maybe 15 minutes to run this search. Find 5 people. You can read through their bios. You can take a look at all that they've shared. So whether they're writing content on LinkedIn, what type of content they're sharing, you can read through their entire resume right there, all of the companies they've been with. So you can really make sure that this is a relevant contact for you, that you're both going to be a benefit to each other. And I can't stress that enough. We're not advocating going out there and just spamming people and randomly trying to make connections. These are really intentional connections. And so this is exactly what we did. We went out and we started to make these connections, but we did it in a very specific way where as you connect, you can either just send that quick, pre-created connection invitation to whoever it is you're looking to connect with on LinkedIn. But instead, I would use that as an opportunity to express who you are and why you're looking to connect. So we just sent a very simple message saying that, hey, Diana, I'm Rebecca. Here's, who I am as the founder of Radiant LA, et cetera, et cetera. Very short introduction. And I just simply said, I'm always looking to connect people with other like-minded individuals. Is there someone? What's that?
He was saying, I saw that message. It was a great one. I saw that.
Yeah, but it was just very simple where instead of me, and we've all gotten these, coming out and saying, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Do you know anybody or any customers you can send to me? And I'm like, seriously? I just met you. Instead of that, we're flipping that around and we're asking that person. So I'm saying to you, hey, I'd love to connect with you because looks like we have a lot in common. And I'd love to support you in growing your business, but also growing your profile here on LinkedIn. So is there anybody in particular you're looking to connect with? And that's it. Is there anybody you're looking to connect with? I'd love to make that introduction. So here's the idea behind this. Again, you're picking 5 people per day that are very relevant to your business. And now you're going out and you're basically putting that law of reciprocity into action where you're giving long before you ever even think of getting something in return. And so how this works then is if they come back and they say, well, I'm looking for somebody that's specifically in the Los Angeles area that is a dog groomer. And then I can look through and I can see who I'm connected to and I can say, hey, I do have somebody. What you're going to do here is you're going to reach out to that person and say, hey, I have somebody that I think would make a terrific connection for you. Would you be okay if I introduce the 2 of you? So you're asking for permission. You're not spamming this person. You're not taking advantage of your relationship, but you're creating a mutually beneficial connection. And as you can imagine, this creates a snowball effect and a snowball effect of positivity where all of a sudden you're interacting and you're not just interacting, but you're having conversations about your business, about their business, about how you can help each other, how you can support each other. So it's just been an amazing situation to watch where since we started this, we have, I think we had something like 1,500 connections over the amount of time that had happened, and well over 400 of those people responded, which created massive conversations, as you can imagine. But it's just that opportunity to say, hey, I'm here. I want to help. How can I help and support you? Instead of, hey, I'm here. How can I sell you on my business? You don't know me, but you should buy from me. Or you should send me a customer. Such a bizarre thing we do on social media, isn't it?
Yes. Very much so. Yes. Well, those are some crazy good results.
Yeah, no, it was all born out of the fact that I had quite a few, as I just said, incoming connection invitations, and I didn't want to simply accept those that were relevant.
Right.
And you know how that goes. You accept it. Maybe you say hi and then you move on and you forget that you're even connected to that person. I wanted to be very strategic, very intentional in how we connected and how we went about extending that relationship beyond just that initial conversation.
Right. Well, great. So that's for LinkedIn. Shall we move on to Twitter?
You go for it. Hey,
Twitter?
Bruno. I was just going to say hi real quick. Just saw that Bruno shut up. So thanks for being here.
Bruno. Hi, Bruno.
Yes, and he does second. People are bizarre on social media, just in the way we abuse those connections and try to make connections like poof out of thin air. So strange.
The natural thing again. That's not a natural thing to do. You wouldn't walk up to a complete stranger and say that, right? So you got to think about that natural. Like, what would you do in an in-person situation? That's how you want to do it on social media.
There you go. All right. So bring us into Twitter. How do we connect with anybody using Twitter?
Twitter Advanced Search, I think, is such an underutilized little tool. Didn't you say we could do split screen on here? Do you know how to do it? And if you don't, it's no big deal.
That's an excellent question.
I meant to Google that. Okay. So if you go to, if you can open it, if you're here, open up another tab to search.twitter.com and then click on Advanced Search, which is underneath there. And this is a way that you can connect with highly targeted people for whatever you're looking for. Maybe you're looking to connect with people who've never heard of your business before. Maybe you are looking to connect with people in your industry. Whatever it may be, you can find real-time relevant conversations on here, and it is an amazing tool. So if you're looking on, if you've gone to search.twitter.com and you click on Advanced Search, you can see that the way that you can search here gets very specific. So you're probably familiar with the regular Twitter search, but now this is the Advanced Search. So it allows you to type in multiple words. So again, keywords, think keywords for your business. And then there's a space where you can put if you want an exact phrase. So say you have, I don't know, say an Italian restaurant. If you put in the words Italian in restaurant in all these words, you may get nothing to do with an Italian restaurant because you want that exact phrase, right? So then you would type that in the exact phrase field or any words. There's another field that you can put in any words. So the point is that you can get hyper specific here about the people that you want to connect with. It also allows you to search for certain accounts, certain words in certain accounts. It's really a powerful tool. And that is a fabulous way, because think how many conversations are on Twitter every day, millions, right? And you can narrow those down, get hyper specific with the people that you want to connect with, and you can find so much information on there. And then again, when you do find those people that are having the conversations that you're looking for, be natural. I think that's turning into being the theme of what we're talking about here, but be natural. Again, you know, so you've gone to all of this trouble to find them. Don't turn them off, you know, with some cheap message. So instead, maybe, you know, come up with something that would be more natural. For example, let's say you have a pet food store and somebody's tweeting about their cat being overweight. this is out there, but let's just say you have that story. You could very easily send that person a tweet and, oh no, your kitty's overweight. Maybe try our diet cat food or whatever it might be.
Right.
It feels not in their face. Just,
right.
I can't tell you how many accounts I block. I used to try to send tweets back and say, that's just not a good tweet, but why bother? Now block them.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Just move on.
Blocked. You've gone to so much trouble to find them. So, but Be Natural, Be Human works well on Twitter. You're absolutely right, Bruno. And Twitter advanced search is perfect.
Leanne wants to know if we're thinking of Penny, her cat. Is Penny a little overweight?
Aw.
And yeah, Bruno said, Be Natural, Be Human works well on Twitter. People are not pretending as much as on LinkedIn. And when you have, a small amount of characters that you can actually use, you do have to condense your thoughts down into the most important parts. So let's just say, Diana, for the sake of this conversation, that you don't have the 200,000, followers that you have on Twitter. You're starting from scratch and you're trying to figure out how to reach out to people. What would be your suggestion on a daily action somebody could take to just do that outreach like you're talking about?
Remember when we wrote that ebook for Post Planner about Facebook, and we put in there to reach out to 5 new people a day, or 5 people in your industry. And now I heard you just say, reach out to 5 people on LinkedIn. Well, how about the same thing? Reach out to 5 people on Twitter. Because if you do that on a couple different social platforms every day, you are going to build a pretty big social presence on several platforms in no time.
Yeah, well, and it's that commitment, like you just said. It's putting it into your calendar, doing it every single day so that it just becomes a part of your routine. And instead of it being an afterthought, which it so often is, you are, back to that word, intentionally reaching out to people, interacting with people. You talk a lot about Twitter lists, which I'm a huge advocate of as well, where you can take those people that you're finding every day, so like those 5 people, and add them into a Twitter list that just consolidates those. So it's really simple, right, to come in every day and engage.
Exactly. And this also comes full circle. All this stuff always comes full circle on social media about what you were saying about freshening up and tidying up your bio. You need to put a little work into that, because you don't want to get skipped over when somebody is specifically, intentionally trying to connect with particular people, and they get to your page and they're like, and they skip over and go to the next one. You don't want that.
Right. Exactly.
Contact for you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I just love Twitter Advanced Search. There is, as you said, there is so much you can do with it.
So it's a powerful tool. I don't hear many people talk about it. It's kind of bizarre, but I don't know if people aren't using it or what, but it is powerful. Otherwise, you are, in my opinion, really limiting yourself, because if you're just using the regular search, sure, you can find a lot there, but you're so broad there in what you're searching for. You're casting such a wide net there that it's just going to be better for you to narrow it down and become more hyper specific. And that's what Twitter Advanced Search allows you to do. And then on top of that, the information is in real time. So it's really good. Which
is a beautiful thing. Yeah, for sure.
There's several ways to get to it. I think there's 3 or 4 different ways to get to it, but I always just go to search.twitter.com and click on Advanced Search on that page.
Yeah, it's super simple. Or just Google Twitter Advanced Search. Boom, there it is.
There you go.
Always the easy way, right? All right, so number 3 out of our top 5 ways to connect with absolutely anyone is another underutilized tool that I speak a lot about, and it's crazy to me that typically half the room has never heard of this tool, never used this tool. So it's Facebook Audience Insights. And if you have a Facebook page, this is such an awesome tool to do a whole lot of digging about your audience, because as we know, all great relationships, they begin with a common interest. And so what we're really trying to create here is a scenario where you can find anyone that has a similar interest. And Facebook Audience Insights does exactly this. It allows you to find, like-minded individuals. You can find those customers that are looking for exactly what your product or service is. So many different ways that you can use this. You can use it to find people talking about similar passions. So you mentioned cats. Of course, that's a running joke on social media, just all of the cat memes. But there are people with a huge passion around animals, period.
Right.
So no matter who you're looking to connect with, you can find them in that Facebook Audience Insight. So you just simply head over to your Facebook page, and up in the top left-hand corner where you can access your analytics, your Facebook ads, right there is Facebook Audience Insights. And if you click on that, it's going to take you into a whole world where you can filter down based on so many different variations, everything from their location to their activities, so their demographics, to just about anything you can think of. So let's say you're a photographer, Diana, and your specialty is weddings. So you might want to filter based off of that topic. So those interests, people that are interested in getting married, or people that are interested in weddings. You can also filter based off of somebody that has clicked in a relationship, engaged. You could filter based off of their income. So let's say you cater to high-end weddings, and so you want people that only make a certain dollar amount or more. The sky is the limit. You can filter based on so many different ways within Facebook. So head over to Facebook Audience Insights and start to look through how you can filter based off of who your perfect connection would be. You can also take a look at, this is where you can look at other pages that are similar to yours. So let's go back to the dog groomer. And let's say I'm a local dog groomer in the Los Angeles area. So who would I want to connect with? Maybe pet supply companies, maybe vets, maybe breeders, people that we can naturally start to refer one another, right? And so you could do a search within Facebook Audience Insights for pages that customers, people that you're wanting to connect with pages that they're already interacting with. And you can start to look at those pages and you can see, what kind of content are they sharing? What kind of conversations are they having? What kind of engagement are they getting? And all of this will help you start to not only research relationships that you want to create, so people you can start to reach out to, but also see from that content creation point of view, what is it that your audience is already actively engaged in, and what type of content could you possibly start to use or share over on your Facebook page to attract that exact right customers. So when we talk about connecting with absolutely anyone, it doesn't just have to be partners or people that you're going to be able to refer to, or they can refer back to you, but also those exact right customers. So use Facebook Audience Insights in several different ways to do a little digging into that perfect person that you want to connect with.
And I know we're not talking about Twitter analytics today, because that's not one of our 5 ways we were going to talk about, but you can get all that information about your Twitter page too by going up into the right-hand corner. Instead of the left-hand corner on Facebook, go to the right-hand corner on Twitter and click the little wheel down to analytics. And you can see all kinds of cool info. It's really crazy. I mean, you can find out what kind of mobile phones your audience is using, I'm in the tech industry, right? So I look at all the techie stuff. You can get all kinds of good information.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I mean, how do they know how old I am on Twitter? But they do. They know everything. So
yeah, yeah.
But they know everything about you because they're able to tell you everything about your audience. So that's really powerful.
It is amazing. And, you know, Graham has a really good point here. He said the auto DMs for new followers on Twitter are abused big time. Totally agree. And can get really annoying. I know they have their place, but some go straight for the sale without any prior relationship, which is exactly what we're talking about here, right? Where it's download such and such, or come connect with me on Facebook. Well, hey, I just connected with you on Twitter. Why do I want to bounce off of Twitter and go over to Facebook? So there is a natural way that you could use an auto DM, but for the most part, it's become so spammy.
Well, I think let me think about what I'm going to say. Okay. If I remember right, Twitter just made some changes to their terms and conditions, and they went into play this month. And if I remember right, one thing that they're now stopping is bulk auto DM, because there's on some of those third-party apps, you can send out bulk DMs to 500 of your followers or 1,000 of your followers or whatever it may be, and they're stopping that, which tells me that they're starting to notice the problem with auto DMs. So maybe that's just one step towards what we really want, which is no auto DMs, and I don't think it's quite there yet.
And that's a great point. If you haven't read, I was just reading through all of those changes, last week.
Right.
And it is exciting to see that they're taking a stance on that. And so you'll start to see if you have ever gone over to somebody's profile and all of a sudden you can't see any of their tweets. It could be that they've been blocked temporarily. It could be that they've been, blocked altogether. But that is because something has happened that's triggered that issue where they're sending those auto DMs, they're auto following way too many people in a short amount of time. That just isn't humanly possible. So I think this is such an incredibly important point, that we're all human beings making a human connection. Automation is fantastic in a lot of ways, but you can't use automation to completely wipe out the human interaction piece of what we're talking about here today, because in my opinion, you're wasting your time. All of a sudden, you've tried to reach out to people, you're trying to be authentic, and then you send this auto DM, which just wipes out everything you just tried to establish.
Oh, right? Yes. Yeah. I read about that all the time. It just completely.
It's so counter to trying to actually interact with people. And I'm always shocked when I will follow somebody on Twitter and they have 1 million followers and I get some crappy auto DM. And I think, are you kidding? Do you not have an agency or a PR professional or a friend that says to you, do not do this?
Friends don't let friends auto DM.
Right. Yes. So there is a time and a place to agree, but you have to be very, very cautious.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. I know we want to keep this going. So let's talk about hashtags.
Number 4. You got it.
My favorites. And again, like I mentioned with Twitter Advanced Search, the way that you will use your hashtags will depend on what your strategy is at that time. So you can use hashtags to connect with almost anyone on any topic, but you have to know the right hashtags to put in. So let me explain to you what I mean. If you are, for example, I'm in Munich right now for a Huawei event, and the hashtag has the word Huawei in it because it's a company event. So the people who are here want to be able to look at all the content that people are sharing, and then the people who aren't here also want to see all the content being shared at this event, so their company name is in there. But If you're wanting to connect with people, say potential new customers, you don't want to create a hashtag with your company name in it because you're trying to connect with new people. So see, there's these different hashtag strategies depending on what your goal is. But this is kind of how you go about looking for hashtags. Let's say, for example, you want to connect with a journalist or a reporter. Then you might use, for example, I wrote a couple down, you might want to use, or somebody in the press, you might want to use hashtag help a reporter or hashtag PR request. Well, how would you find those hashtags? You would want to use a tool. So this is how you can kind of start out doing it. You want to think of what your primary hashtag is, your big hashtag. Let's just say mine is tech. I don't use that hashtag a lot because it's too broad, but that's okay. In your mind, think of what your broad hashtag is. Maybe it's just whatever it may be. Think of your broad hashtag. Then you want to narrow it down. We keep talking about getting more niche-y. You want to narrow it down to like your secondary hashtags and then start getting more specific. And as you do that, you can research those individual hashtags to see what's happening on them. So I was reading an article the other day about how when President Obama made his State of the Union address back in 2014, the White House went on a hashtag strategy where that night they used 26 different hashtags. And then 2 days later, they had narrowed the 26 down to 7. And then 3 days after that, they were using 3 hashtags, and those were the 3 hashtags that they used for the topics in that speech going forward because they were the ones that people resonated with most. So what that tells me is they started with the list of 26, and they used them, then they did their testing, then they collected their data, and then they narrowed it down based on the ones that resonate with people. So there's all kinds of tools you can use to help you find the secondary and the tertiary hashtags. Yes, creating an Excel spreadsheet that tells your hashtags, tells what the volume is on those hashtags. You know, you can keep track of that, so you're always using the hashtags that you should be using. I know you've heard Rebecca and I talk about Hashtagify. Is that the name of it? Am I saying that right? For some reason that doesn't sound. I don't know if you've seen their site in the past week, but they've revamped the whole thing.
Yes, I tweeted about it. It's a huge update. Yeah.
Huge update. I'm looking at it right now. So you just go to the site, you type in any hashtag. It instantly tells you how popular it is, you know, when it trends, all this information. And then most importantly, it gives you the related hashtags. So see, here you go. There's your secondary hashtags. Then you go in and you can even make it more relevant and more relevant. And then look at your competitors. What hashtags are they using? It's kind of like, and I know I always go back to this, it's kind of like finding keywords for Google SEO, right? Because you, every now and then you find a keyword and you're like, ooh, this is a good one, right? That's how hashtags are too. Because you'll find one and you'll be like, oh, every time I tweet this one, I get so much engagement. That's what you want to find. But sometimes they might be a needle in a haystack. So it takes some research and it takes some time to research those. Totally worth
well,
it.
so let me ask you a question then. Getting actionable on a day-to-day basis with this, as you start to nail down, and I love your example because the Obama administration was just brilliant in their use of Twitter and really understanding who their market was and reaching as many people as they possibly could. But as you start to find those hashtags, what would your suggestion be in the outreach and connecting with people through those hashtags? Are you reaching out to them? Are you tweeting their stuff? Are you, going out and reading their content and making, a comment on that? What would you suggest?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish with those hashtags. Hashtags are global connectors. You can use them for whatever it is you're trying to do. But for me, what I do is I look on my key hashtags all the time. I'm on there. And it's interesting because I can spot somebody new who's starting to tweet that hashtag. I spot those people very quickly. And the first thing I do is follow them. Then I'll find a tweet of theirs I like and I'll retweet it. Then when I retweet it, if they know what they're doing, right, they want to connect. They want to connect with like-minded people. So I often get a tweet back. It starts the engagement. If I don't get a tweet back, I might reach out to them the next week. But it's a simple process. First thing you do, if it's Twitter and you're doing this, the first thing you do is follow the person, and you want to get noticed. And the best way to get noticed is to retweet them, in my opinion. So, but you might have to go through their page, and don't just retweet anything, of course. You find something that's relevant to your audience. And
right. Well, and it all comes back to that, doesn't it?
By step by step. And it's not going to all happen in one day. You know, this is a process. This isn't, you're trying to connect with, 1,000 people in one day. It just doesn't work like that. You just do a little bit each day, and before you know it, you'll start gaining those deep connections that are so valuable. They're priceless.
Yeah. Well, and it's what we're talking about here. It's those little steps that you're doing consistently day in and day out that as a type A personality, I know we can tend to want to run ahead and just get from A to Z as fast as possible. But that's not the reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not going to happen. Got to do it every day to actually start to see those big results.
Right. You got to do a little bit every day. And it doesn't have to be a lot of time either. Take 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening, or whatever you can do. Even if you're only have 15 minutes a day total, that's okay. You can make progress in that.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. So let's talk about number 5 real quick here. We've touched on a couple of tools, but we have a couple more that we want to share as well, just in how to make those connections. And to me, these tools are where you can really start to accelerate your targeted connections, because you can drill down so far into those keywords, like we're talking about, those hashtags, those specific niches, and then you can start to filter too, which is super cool based off of their particular influence. So let's just say you're looking to connect with influencers within your industry. One of our tools will help you do that. So Diana, why don't you talk about the first one, and then I'll talk about the second one.
Oh, okay. Well, I have our little list here. How about, which one do I want to talk about? I love all.
You pick.
I don't know where to start. How about Clear? I'll start with Clear.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
I love Clear. And it's actually the tool that Huawei uses to help with the data for their influencer marketing program. So I've become very familiar with it. And the person who founded Clear came to our Facebook group, had a little talk with us, touched base with us, explained the algorithm. That is a very cool tool. It helps you not only find influencers in your niche, it breaks it down by social platform, so whatever it is you want to focus on, depending on where your audience is. It even helps with relationship management. That is that's an amazing tool. I love Clear, and I know that they've got some enterprise level pricing plans, but they also have free tools, and you can search for influencers in your niche with the free tools. So don't think, because I know a lot of people think Clear is so expensive. Well, it doesn't have to be. You can use the free version. I love that.
Well, and that's such a great tip. And I had mentioned in the comments about Simply Measured, same situation, where they can be a little bit more pricey, but they have, I think, at least a dozen free tools that will help you run all of the analytics, like we're talking about, on all of your different social properties. They're connected to, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of them. So as we've talked about before, unfortunately, there's no one size fits all. We use a variety of tools. I think what would be a great topic one of these days would be the top tools that we use and how we kind of pull all of those together and integrate those into a daily or weekly strategy, because we're not spread out all over the place. We're very specific in how we use these tools. And I love Clear because I don't think it gets talked about enough.
Also, and I'm sure you're like this, Rebecca, you have your handful of favorite tools, but when you first go to that tool, it's not completely obvious the best way to use it to get the strategy done, right? To accomplish certain goals. So we figure out how to get what we want out of the tool. So it would be fun to share that information and find out what tools other people are using too, because, can take a little time to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Graham had suggested that we put together a hashtag cheat sheet, and that's not a bad idea. In fact, I'd be surprised if we don't have something like that created already. Diana and I joke that if we don't have it between the two of us, it's shocking.
It's on your blog or whatever it is. Just trust me, it's on your blog.
Yeah, it's a great idea, because it shouldn't be so hard to find the information that we're talking about here, and it shouldn't be so hard to make these connections. And so our goal with just talking through all of this is trying to simplify what I think so many others try to make just so overwhelming. And it feels like it's going to take you hours and hours out of your day. And it really does not have to. Diana and I don't have hours a day to put towards these things.
We have been being consistent for years and years and years. Both of us have. You more than me. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm more consistent than a lot of people, because I'm pretty, it's very important to me. So it's always high on my list. But you, I mean, that's your business, and you always lead by example when it comes to that stuff.
Well, and I think to your point, what you have done exceptionally well, and I can't stress enough for others, is finding the social network that serves you best and where you've made those most connections, which has been Twitter for you, and then just showing up every single day, which you do a great job at.
Yeah. Well, it's important, because if you make a decision, you know what? You make a decision. Is it important to you or isn't it? And if it is, do it. It's kind of like exercise. Now, if I could just exercise every day, I'd be doing good.
Yeah, there are all those things that we all say, if I could just, which is why I say, put it in your calendar, treat it like, any other commitment within your business. So you actually do it. All right. So we'll move through real quickly, just a couple more tools.
Right.
Yeah. Before we wrap up.
Love mention. And to me, it's cool to use when you feel like you've kind of outgrown Google Alerts, right? You feel like, okay, I'm ready to move on. But you use mention all the time, and I've heard you talk about it before, and I would like for you to explain how you use that tool, because mention is really an all-inclusive. You can see sentiment, you can see how many people are tweeting around your brand, your topic, so your keyword. Any keyword. It doesn't even have to be your brand. You might want to monitor or you might want to monitor, some news is coming out with some company and you want to monitor that, whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be just your business. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It can be any keyword. Absolutely.
Well, and I would share 3 tools. So mention, Communit, COMMUN.IT, which I've used since I think their beta days. And then Follower Wonk, which is by Moz. Follower Wonk, another great tool, but all of those allow you to do that research, stay in touch in real time, and search. You can either search based off of a specific person. So I could look at you, Diana, and I could see every little bit of information about you. I could take a look at your followers. So maybe those are people that we have similarities, something in common because we're all tweeting about the same things. Maybe those are people I want to connect with. And I'm talking just about Twitter here, but these tools can connect with a variety of social networks. So if you're looking to establish relationships on other social networks, I would look at any of those. BuzzSumo is the other one I wanted to talk real quickly about, which, there's a free version of that where you can search. So I did a search yesterday just to get an example of a very broad topic. And I just searched social media. So if you go to BuzzSumo and you click on the tab influencers, you can type in any topic and it's going to give you the top influencers based off of their page rank, based off of their amount of connections, so how many followers they have across social media, their engagement rate, so total shares, so lots of different ways that they're calculating this. But if you search social media, I'm actually number 7 within that list, which to me is pretty impressive. Yeah, when you consider how broad a topic that is. But what you could do is use this in that way where I can see, so let's say I wanted to connect with myself. I could see my bio. I could see, pretty much anything I'd ever want to know. I could click over to my blog. I could click over to Facebook, to Twitter, to LinkedIn, all of these different locations, and make a determination if this was a good person for me to connect with based off of similar interests in our business.
So I had to plug in my laptop, if you're wondering what all the moving around is. I was on 5% over here. But no, I love BuzzSumo. There's so many ways to use that tool. There's a lot more than just influencer information. You can just, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. Bruno said community is the origin of a lot of spam and auto DMs, which I haven't seen that. I didn't even realize. Yeah, I guess you can, can't you? I was going to say I didn't even realize you could auto DM. I see a lot of the, hey, thanks for being, my top follower. And yes, unfortunately, there's a lot of tools that do that too. But from just a basic being able to research and connect and stay connected with the right people, it's a really great tool for that. Unfortunately, there's always this functionality and features that people abuse.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I see that because a lot of times that comes with the DM. It'll say the community.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, there's the top 5 ways that you can use social media to connect with absolutely anyone. And as we talked about, there are so many different ways to start to network with people, to do that outreach, to really get yourself out in front of people. As we know, time is so precious in our business, and how you spend it is how you are going to succeed in the coming days. And so you really need to be intentional and focused on making those right connections, and not just making those right connections, but taking those steps every day to stay top of mind. So beyond that, it's getting interactive with people. It's just having conversations. Diana and I are part of a community, which is a hashtag that has really created a movement over on Twitter that Madeline Sklar started, which is called Video Reply Day. There's just
be Tuesday, right? Started out to be Tuesdays only, and now it's all day, every day. People are tweeting with that.
And just talking about what's going on in your business, what's going on with your day, what's going on with your kids. It's just a really, really neat way to stay human to human connected with people. instead of always overthinking it and feeling as if, we've got to do something or be something more, instead of just reaching out and commenting or sharing your feedback or asking a question. It's just really as simple as that.
And Rebecca, a good thing to close off on is that article that you found that I love, 600 plus icebreaker questions. How about if I drop that link in here? Because if you want to just have, did that work? There we go. Those are some cool questions in there. If somebody sent me some of them, I would answer them in a tweet. Now, this is the opposite of cheesy intro tweet. This is the opposite of that. These are good ones.
Yes, exactly.
Video reply day. Look, go to search.twitter.com and put that hashtag in and look. It's such a great community now. I think there's 29 or 30 people in it, and everybody's so supportive. And it started out just to be, Madeline said, hey, next Tuesday, let's all tweet videos as a reply to our tweets. Just a couple times a day, just hit the video button and say what you would say in a tweet in a video. So it was just going to be for that Tuesday. And now what, I don't know, 2 or 3 months later, it's a whole community.
Right. Yeah, and a very, very active one. And so that's something to think about too, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. If you're looking to create a community around your business, around your brand, a hashtag can be a really terrific way to bring people together. And now, Madeline's gotten national recognition for this movement. So it's definitely elevated awareness around her business and her brand.
And it's a great case study, too, to the power of hashtags. It really is.
For sure.
We started out in a group where a couple of us knew each other, but I didn't know most of the people in that group beforehand.
No,
and
I didn't either.
We are like this. Like, everybody has each other's back, and we're so supportive. And, I mean, amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we have hit the top of the hour, so we're going to get out of here. But thank you to everybody that was here live and is now joining us in the replay. We're going to be back again, doing this at the same time every single week and talking about all of those topics that matter most to you as you are out there building your influence, your authority across not just social media, but online period, and how to use online marketing to support and grow your business. So thank you, Diana. As always, super awesome to hang out with you.
Thank you very, very much.
All right. Well, have a safe trip back from Germany, and we'll see you back here next week when hopefully you've gotten a massive amount of sleep.
Thank you. I will see you then. Bye.
All right. Talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.